Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Kaylana here. And so this morning I'm actually getting ready to go do some Uber Eats. I was actually closer to the afternoon. However, I wanted to talk about a few things and just ask you guys some questions. The first thing is it's kind of like, okay, discipline when it comes to rideshare and also doing some of these app-based gigs. Now, for instance, say like if some of you guys do Uber Eats, Postmates, Lyft, GrubHub, DoorDash, Caviar, these app-based gigs, Instacart, Ship, like whatever. And I was wondering, like, do you guys have a certain way of discipline when it comes to, getting on the app and working? Because I think that sometimes it's easy to kind of lose track of time or, stay focused and stay disciplined with doing these apps because you can get on and off whenever you please, except for like maybe Instacart because they haven't implemented that system yet to where you can get on and off the app whenever you want without being disciplined for it or, receiving some type of a, what do you call those things? Reliability incident or whatever. But I know with like Uber and things like that and Lyft and some of the other rideshare type of gigs, you can get on and off when you want. GrubHub is the same way unless you schedule a block, things like that. But I think, at least for me, I'm learning how to discipline myself when getting on and off the app, as far as the ones that, you're not scheduled to work and things like that, okay? And so I think that it's easy to not be disciplined sometimes because you know that you can get on and off whenever you want. And especially knowing that there's certain places or certain zones and territories that you can work in that will be able to make you enough money to get by for that day. However, if you don't get on at a certain time, then you're not going to make any money. And there are actually several Uber and Uber Eats drivers, Lyft drivers, or whatever that I know in the area that they make good money here. And I know I've gotten some, like a few, not many, like a few negative comments in my comments saying that, oh, you can't make any money here in Orlando, you can't make any money in Florida, and that is so far from the truth. Because it depends on where you are, what time you're out there. If you position yourself right, yeah, they have a lot of people out here, unfortunately, but I think that it depends on you and where you're at. And now, as far as doing it full time, that's going to be totally up to you, but that's a totally different vlog. However, I just think that kind of like these guys that do it and that make good money and that actually drive full time, they have their own system, they have their own way of how they make the money, they know locations. And there are factors that can kind of displace you when you want to do it full time, especially when these companies hire so many people and there's like an overflow and it kind of saturates the market. And so you already know how that goes. It kind of just depreciates how much money you would make for sure. But I think that in order to really make this worth your while, besides the factors that are involved, it's possible, but it depends also on where you are. Now, like I said, I'm here in Orlando, and so it's kind of like hit or miss here. And there are people I know that have done this full time, and some chose to get out of it because, they didn't want a whole lot of wear and tear in their car, which makes sense. And trust me, like I've gotten some wear and tear on my vehicle. I know you guys see the Order Up hat back there. Those are my hats. I got my GrubHub hat and my Order Up, because Order Up's not here anymore because bought up by GrubHub. But anyway. But yeah, y'all, so like, I'm thinking, the best way to really discipline yourself is to remind yourself why you're doing it. And if you know you have rent to pay, you got bills to pay, you got childcare to take care of, you got your car payment, you have to pay your health insurance, your car insurance, like whatever, you have to remind yourself, okay, how much money I want to make each day, where I'm going to go, where I'm going to position myself and stick to it. Now, every day won't be the same because you may have days where it's slower than others, and then you may have days where it's busy, and so that's going to be kind of up to you. Excuse me. And then, there's times where, you can't help the elements. It could be traffic, it could be the weather, it could just be slow, it could be a holiday, it could be a special event. And so some of those things take into account of, if it's going to be busy or not. But as far as you waking up in the morning, and even though we're independent contractors, like I think that, it's easy to think, okay, yeah, I'm my own boss, but at the same time, I can get up and go out there whenever I want. And in reality is the longer you're out there sometimes and where you are, the more money you'll make. And so you have to kind of look at this as still like you're working, you have a job. Even though you're independent contractor, you're still working. And so look at these types of gigs as you're working, and you have to be consistent in it. And like last night, well, actually for the past couple days or so, there's a local Uber, well, he does Uber Eats, and he's a sweet guy. And I'm actually in one of his local groups, and he's been helping me, with this process with Uber Eats and how to maximize my income. And like sometimes, he'll check up on me and send me an inbox and ask how I'm doing, or I inbox him and ask him questions. And I talk to some of the other drivers, and they tell me like where they go, what they do, and how they make their money. And so, a lot of Uber Eats or food delivery drivers don't do that. Like they'll just, show how much money they make, and that's it. And I can respect that, because you don't want everybody to know, your game, and the next, everybody's going out to that place and then you're not making any money. And so that's respectable. But I just think that, you have to look at it as almost like you're working a job, because you are. Even though it's your own thing, you're still working for a company, and you're delivering a service or product to a customer. And, I think some people are able to discipline themselves with getting up early in the morning, or going out at a specific time of the day, the same times every single day, and they're able to have a consistent amount of income coming in, because they know where to go, they know what to do, they know what time to be there, and it's like that every single day. And I think for me, at this time, at this recording of the video, I'm still learning that process. Now, it's different with Instacart, because of course you have a schedule. So when you schedule your blocks, you got to be there at a specific time. You got to be in a certain zone. And even with GrubHub, if you schedule a block, you have to be there at a certain time and in place. And you guys know how it goes. And so, but that's different. But like with like some of these gigs, and it's not just rideshare with food delivery, it's also with some of these other app-based gigs where you can just like TaskRabbit or Roadie, or and there's also like mystery shopping. I mean, there's so many things that you can do on your app and make money for it, but you have to be disciplined. It has to be consistent. And sometimes the work will be there. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's busy. It all depends. But like the people that I've spoken with, and my thing is, I don't just take people at their word. Like I see screenshots, like people explain how they do it, but they're consistent. And so they have certain areas that they go to, and they study the market. They study, okay, what restaurants are open, or are there going to be special events in this particular area where I can go out and be out there, to pick up people or to drop them off or like whatever. And so those take into account. So people that make the most money that I have seen, that I have spoken with even, they are consistent. And so whenever you don't have consistency, and if you're not serious about it, you're not going to make that much money. It depends on your zone. So don't take that to offense if I say that, because some people are like, yeah, that it doesn't matter because this is slow. It depends on your market, because some people try to sign up for Uber Eats and they're just in an area where it's just not that busy, or you sign up for Lyft or Uber, or you sign up for GrubHub, or you try to sign up for Instacart, like whatever. It just may not be busy in your area. So people take offense to that when they complain and see other people make money, and they're like, well, that's not possible. Well, it is possible, but it's not like that for everybody. And so consistency is key. And so, but if you're scheduling blocks with some of these companies, that could be a challenge, because sometimes you might not be able to schedule a block, because they have so many people, or hours may be going faster, or it's just different things. So consistency, I think, is important when you really want to look at this as you're working a job, and being disciplined and saying, okay, this is how much money I can make. This is how much money I want to make per day. These are the days that I can do it. These are the places that I can go to make this money. And so those I think are some of the ways that you can be successful at some of these app-based gigs, is just being consistent, and also knowing where you're going, what time you're going out there, and just sticking to it. Because I'm telling you, it's so easy to get comfortable. I'm one of those people where I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going out at 9 o'clock. I'm saying, like, if I'm doing like Uber Eats or GrubHub or DoorDash or whatever, Postmates, whatever. But if I was doing like Instacart, of course, I'll be there on time, because I have a schedule. So I think that when everybody, when some people think in their mind, okay, I don't have a schedule, but I can go out like whenever I want, and kind of like takes away from like, them making more money, because they can go out when they want. And even though some people go out at specific times when they feel like it, I'm saying like maybe going out an hour earlier might be beneficial, because it can keep you in a flow. You know what I'm saying? So instead of you constantly trying to go out at 11, try to go out at like 9 or 10 in the morning or something like that. So it depends on you. And before I go, another thing that I've been thinking about is, do you guys ever feel like embarrassed or ashamed, or maybe like you're not living up to your potential when you're out there delivering or doing rideshare? And I see some Uber Eats drivers, like, trust me, like, I be watching, they probably don't know it, but like I be watching, and I'm like, and I could just tell by some people's demeanor, like I can tell like this is not something that they really want to do. And I can understand that, because it's like, this is not like something you want to do for the rest of your life, but this is not like an ideal job or ideal career where you can actually be like a millionaire off of it or make six figures, of course. But I have been inside expensive or popular restaurants, and I got the stares. If I were to go in, like, with like regular clothes, or black pants and a shirt, I would get the occasional looks, besides the fact that I'm black, because you got some restaurants that don't have a lot of ethnicities in there. It's mostly Caucasian or whatever. Forgive me for saying that, but I'm just saying, and they see a black person walk up in there, and they're like, what are you doing in here? I get that a lot here in Central Florida, especially in the well-to-do areas, and at times it has made me feel like that, like, okay, well, but I know that there's nothing wrong with me. So people are going to look at you sometimes, because they almost look at you like you're less than, because you're picking up food and you're delivering it. And so my thing is, people don't know your story, and so you might not be as wealthy as them, or well known as them, or have the same type of money as them, but that doesn't make you less than. And it has crossed my mind a lot, since I've been doing this, but I have to remind myself why I'm doing it and who I'm doing it for. And so those people are in those restaurants working, or they're in there paying, they're in there eating, and you're just providing a service for somebody else. And so it doesn't make you less of a person, because this is something that you do. I thought about that, like I said, y'all. I'm like, man, it sucks what I'm doing, but this is just for a season. And so when my season is up from doing this, and that's just what it is, but for those of you guys who probably think that, well, man, I'm picking up pizza, or I'm delivering food, or I'm grocery shopping, or I'm driving for a living. People often assume that that's not a job, and I can kind of understand their point. But if this is paying your bills, you're doing it legally, you're taking care of house and home, then you're working. It's a job, and it may not be as lucrative or as or as popular of what some people would expect of you, but you're not doing it for them. So that's just what I want to say, y'all. But I gotta bounce. I'll holler at you later. Peace.